You've been putting in the hours, studying at your desk, practicing games seriously, training hard in sports. You're not lazy, you're actually trying, but somehow the results don't match the effort. It always feels like you're just a step behind, and over time, that starts to turn into doubt. You begin to wonder if maybe you're just not good enough, no matter how hard you work. At the same time, there are always a few people who seem to be good at everything. They perform well in school, in games, in sports. And what frustrates you most is not just that they're better, it's that they don't seem to be trying harder than you. That's when it starts to feel like they have something you don't. But here's the truth. The difference is not talent. It's how they use their brain. In this video, you're going to understand a simple but powerful principle from neuroscience. A principle that applies to learning, gaming, and physical training. And once you see it clearly, you'll realize the issue is not your ability, it's your approach. The best part is, you don't need to work harder, you just need to practice differently. Even a small shift in how you train can create noticeable results in a short time. So why do completely different fields all follow the same pattern in the brain? In the book Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman explains that the brain operates through two systems. One is fast and automatic. The other is slow and deliberate. What matters is not which one is better. What matters is how they work together. The fast system allows you to react quickly without thinking. The slow system helps you analyze, adjust, and make decisions. Real performance in any skill does not come from one system alone. It comes from the balance between both. Think about when you first learn a sport. Every movement feels slow and intentional. You think about where to step, how to pass, how to position yourself. That is your slow system in action. But after enough repetition, those movements become automatic. You stop thinking about every step. Your body just reacts. That is when the fast system takes over. The same pattern shows up in studying and gaming. At the beginning, you need to think through each step. You analyze, you process, you go slowly. But after enough repetition, you start solving problems or making decisions quickly without thinking through everything. So if you've been practicing a lot, why does it still feel like you're behind? The problem is not how much you practice, it's how you practice. Most people lean too far in one direction. Some focus only on repetition. They do more problems, play longer, train harder, but they never stop to understand what they are doing. This builds speed, but without direction. Others do the opposite. They overanalyze everything. They read, think, and try to understand deeply, but they don't repeat enough to turn that knowledge into instinct. This builds understanding, but without performance. When these two systems are not balanced, progress always feels incomplete. No matter how much time you put in, something is missing. The solution is simpler than it sounds. You don't need to practice more. You need to practice with intention. Separate your training into two modes, one for slow thinking, one for fast repetition. And to make this easier, start with something small. Before your next session, take just 2 minutes and ask yourself one question. What exactly am I trying to improve right now? That's it. Then go back to practicing. It may seem simple, but it creates a shift. It activates your deliberate thinking before you move into repetition. And when repetition has a clear focus, your brain learns much faster. For example, when studying, instead of just solving problems, pause and ask why a step works. In gaming, take a moment to observe patterns or strategy before jumping in. In training, slow down your movement first to refine technique, then build speed. When you start combining these two systems intentionally, something changes. Your progress stops feeling slow and steady. It starts to accelerate. You'll notice moments where things suddenly click. Not because you worked harder, but because your brain finally learned the right way. In the end, the reason you feel behind is not because you lack talent or effort. It's because you've been relying too much on one side. Either repeating without thinking or thinking without repeating. Real improvement comes from combining both. Deliberate thinking and automatic repetition working together. You might feel like if you had known this earlier, you would be much further ahead. But the truth is, it's not too late. Real change often starts small. Sometimes it's just a pause before you continue. If you apply this in your next session, you may start to notice something different. You're not worse than others, you've just been practicing the wrong way. If this helped you see your training differently, try it today. And if you want to keep learning how your brain actually works to improve performance, stay tuned for more.